pieces of the puzzle that I've decided provides. There's 10 of them. Tools and resources are 2 of them. We're a source of information, a source of motivation, a resource for the people that might need a little bit of encouragement. If this show, The Source, can help our members do that, I'm all in and I'm excited. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving week. It is Kurt P. White here, and this is November's edition of The Source. Down here at lovely Widecast Studios in downtown Peoria. It's kind of a wet, rainy day out there. I guess it's nice if you're a duck, but I'm happy and excited to be here with you, and especially because of my co-host, or my guest today, is who many people who know me would definitely refer to her as my better half, my wife, Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going, honey?
It's going okay.
Yeah. Can you believe that we're 2 days away from Thanksgiving dinner? Does that seem possible?
Well, by the looks of our countertop, it seems possible, yeah.
We got the shopping done, didn't we?
The shopping is done.
So now it's just a matter of putting it together, and I obviously can't wait for that, but just the way that this year's flown by just hardly seems possible that we're already staring down the holidays. I know a lot of people are probably welcoming the end of this year, but because it's been a tough one for a lot of us, but that's I'm excited. I'm excited for the fact that we're going into that season regardless. We still have a lot to be thankful for, and that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today. As we do every month here on The Sources, we talk about the weekly winning word, which Kim always says that there's like this prophecy or something that she can't hardly imagine that, the words seem to align even though she thought of them a year ago. And I'm pretty hard pressed to give her the wow on this one.
Yeah.
Seeing how the word this week is Thanksgiving. But I look forward to discussing that a little bit with you and sharing with our viewers what that word means to you and us particularly. But I want to share with everybody, again, I'm excited that Lisa is here to join me. But going back to having a year with a lot of difficulties and things that's had to change, originally she was going to be here to share and promote her latest project, which I'm so proud of her. She was chosen to direct a show for Community Children's Theater, and the show is called Big Fish. The Community Children's Theater serves, kids from 8 to 18?
8 to 18, yeah.
And they had started that process to put this show together back in the first part of October. And the point of today was the show was supposed to go up here in just 2 weeks, and we were going to promote it and make sure everybody knew where and how they could get a ticket. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you, honey, and explain a little bit what happened and what we can still be thankful for moving forward.
Well, we obviously had to postpone the show based on the governor's new mitigations.
Mm-hmm.
We were rehearsing with masks. The plan was to live stream the show with the kids wearing masks, trying to keep as safe as possible, giving the kids an outlet for their creativity that they haven't had for several months.
Right.
But theaters were supposed to close down, and because of the rise in cases, it was decided by the CCT board that it would be better if we just postponed it.
Sure.
Obviously, that was a big blow to a lot of us, including me.
Oh, I know.
And the kids took it really well. There were several that were pretty sad, but they knew they were going to come back in July. So that's the plan now. We'll meet up again in May, starting in May, and rehearse again. And then the show will go up, I think it's the third weekend of July is the plan. And hopefully we'll be able to do that without masks, which would be with an audience in the theater instead of just live streaming. But the plan is still to live stream it as well, so that we can reach some of those people that were really looking forward to seeing it. Some of our cast members have family members in other countries and all around this country. And so it was kind of a bright spot to everyone
Sure.
that they were looking forward to.
Yeah, we've referred to that, Kim and I, a few times as, the corona blessing or virus blessing has been all this technology that we've had to learn and adapt with and learn it relatively quickly. But, the positives that we're taking from that is, like you said, the ability to stream the show to audience members, grandmas and grandpas, especially for the children's theater that may live on the other side of the country. If they can't make it to Peoria Players, they more than happy. They can literally buy a ticket and watch it from their couch.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that you said then that is still the plan going forward to do that the same way in
We're
July.
We're going to do it the same way in July, but then hopefully we'll also be able to have a live audience.
Okay. Well, and I was a witness to a lot of the preparation, and I made a few rehearsals. I got to say that the group of kids that you had put together and their dedication and what they were giving their nights and all the things that they were committed to putting for that show is definitely apparent. And the way you directed them and brought out the best in them, it's really amazing. And so it's an honor for me to be able to watch that. One of the things I wanted to ask you about and to explain through the process, you were real careful, and the people at CCT did a great job of keeping the kids safe.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you're thankful for the help that we had through all of this.
Oh, for sure. So the CCT board is made up of, I think, 8, maybe 10 people. And they are involved in the show as well. They're there every night for rehearsals, taking temperatures, keeping track of kids that maybe have had exposure. And we did have a small group of kids that were exposed at another event. And they stayed home and did their quarantine and had their test and all that. And thankfully everyone has so far come back as negative.
Right.
So that was a blessing as well. But, the kids came in with their masks on, hand sanitizer, temps taken, 6 feet apart, except for, the occasional times when they were together dancing,
Right.
things like that. But other than that, everyone did a really good job. And even sanitizing when we were finished, the whole building was sanitized, even the chairs and everything, to make sure that everybody stayed safe.
Yeah, and that's what I can certainly attest to. That I witnessed, the fact that they were kids, and of course you have some times where they get rambunctious, and I know there were a couple brothers, siblings that are there that we have 3 boys of our own. Sometimes they just can't keep their hands off one another.
Right.
But the fact that they were all very disciplined and followed the rules and kept their masks on was definitely a true testament to the commitment that you and the CCT staff put forth. And I'm sure that no matter what happens for the postponement come July, all of those precautions and whatever has to be done will be followed. And just some of the conversations that I've overheard you stating with some of the kids and the parents, they're still looking forward to
for sure.
jumping right back in.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're going to have everyone back cast-wise, unless, something happens or they have a vacation they don't know about or something like that. We'll have a little bit of a change in our staff, which makes me a little sad because I really felt blessed to get to know some new people working on this show. But their contribution will be seen even if they aren't there in July. So
yeah, and the connections made and the relationships will not go away. So definitely another thing to be thankful for.
For sure, yeah.
That's one of the quotes and part of the weekly winning resource for our members that receive it, and you should be going out and reading it. We get it every Sunday evening around 5 o'clock. It was Dr. Kevin Snyder says there's always something to be grateful for, no matter what. And you don't have to look real far. As I sat and I reflected on that quote, just the fact that we have a roof over our head. You mentioned earlier how the counter's full of groceries and food that's ready to be prepared. How wonderful is that? How grateful we should be to be in that position, knowing that there's several people thousands just right here in our community that don't have that luxury. So,
Right.
and we could go on and on and on about, the things that we need to not take for granted because we are privileged in that way, and certainly very thankful. But what I wanted to point out is what we do is we share. When we get to that point, and what I wanted to share with our listeners is you've already reached out to some of our friends
Yeah.
that because whether or not their family's not local or they're quarantined, we're still gonna take them a plate of food.
Yes. Because there will be plenty. So
Absolutely.
we may as well share.
So you don't have to think, or it doesn't take much of a stretch to sit back and really think about all the things that we can be grateful for. There's always something to be thankful for. And the definition of Thanksgiving, according to our resource, is it's an expression of thanks, often in the form of prayer to God. When you hear that definition, Lisa, what comes to mind, or how would you sum up your thoughts and feelings with the word Thanksgiving based on that definition?
Well, growing up in the family that I grew up in, one of the most important things about prayer was the very first thing you did was thank God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thank you, God, for this day. Thank you, God, for this family, whatever your prayer was,
Yeah.
before you ever asked for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like you said, there are reasons to be thankful, even when it feels like there's not.
Right.
And even though it's hard sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with not feeling thankful right now,
Mm-hmm.
because it is hard.
Right.
But you just have to find that one little thing, you know, thank you, Lord, for the rain today.
We needed it, believe it or
We
not.
probably
Yeah.
needed it,
Mhm.
yeah. Or, you know, thank you, Lord, that I have a job, or that there
Mhm.
is food on my plate, or that I have a friend to talk to, even if I'm going through a really bad time.
Sure.
You know, those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what something in my family was always, we all live our life all for the honor and glory of God.
Glory
And
be
so
to God.
glory
Yep.
be to God. Thanks be to God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
And I think that's one of the things that was alluded to in the article that Kim had written and included that, step one is in order to practice or have a spirit of thanksgiving or that attitude of gratitude is to start your day that way. No matter, however you choose to set aside that time to commune and pray, that's a great place to start. And as I sat and thought about that too, it's really, we don't want to dwell on the negative, but it's the reality. It's really been a struggle at times to keep our cups full.
yes.
And in order to have that attitude where the cup overfloweth, and which allows us then to share that gratitude with others. It's really been tough lately.
It has.
But as I sat and I thought about gratitude and being thankful, a lot of that can be done just with a simple conversation with him, and that if you start your day, I mean, it just piles on as you move through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And allows you then to share that attitude with others. And a lot of times you're going to do that, you're not even going to realize it.
Right.
And that was definitely a point I wanted to make with our listeners and viewers, with you being here today. When it comes to Thanksgiving, I look at our relationship. Obviously, people are asking, well, what are you thankful for? And it's really easy, my friends, my family, my wife, and absolutely, that's true. And in our case, I'm so blessed to have you as part of my life and so thankful. And it's something that I thank God every day for the opportunity. And what I mean by that is the opportunity that you and I have to witness to our family and friends what what a loving married couple can look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have that opportunity, and I'm happy to say that for the most part we do a pretty good job of it.
I think so. Yeah.
So absolutely, it is something that I'm thankful for, and I start my day every day thanking to have the opportunity and then to be able to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And so now here we sit, and that's another thing. How awesome is this? what a great way to witness to our friends and family sitting here in the studio and doing this show together
Yeah.
about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A true blessing. I was going to switch over here to the article too, real quick, because I know one of the things, obviously, I mentioned that it's a great way to start your day. Kim also, this is something I'd not thought about, but it's something that I would certainly would entertain putting into practice is finish the day being thankful. And kind of along the same lines, but the point is you can kind of look back at your morning prayers and look back at your day and intentionally, even for those that journal, I'm not much of a journaler, but don't use that as an example. For those of you that keep track of your thoughts, or right, take a few minutes. She suggests 10, 15 minutes before you go to bed as part of your nightly routine, to sit down and reflect on the things that you thought you were going to be grateful for in the morning, and then identify them in the evening. Have you ever done that? Is that part of your practice, or
No, to be honest, no.
Mhm.
And I think that's a great thing for a lot of people, but I think that that's probably something that some thing I gotta do. I had
Sure.
to do the dishes and cook the dinner and put the kids to bed and feed the dogs, and now I gotta think about. So I think I do it in a more simple way. When I lay down and in the quiet of the night, then I say when I say my prayers, I'm thankful and I thank God for all the things that have happened that day.
Right.
And thank Him for the nice warm bed that I have, and of course my dogs.
Yes,
My
our
husband.
dogs.
So yeah, I mean that's just not something that I've ever done. I'm not saying that it's not the right thing to do. It's right for some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something I've ever practiced doing. No.
And again, it's just a suggestion, one of the exercises that I never really thought about. I've
Yeah.
heard many people, that's how you start your day. But then her
Right.
suggestion of finishing the day, I thought was pretty neat. And I might, if you're having a hard time having that attitude of gratitude, there were actually 4 steps, which I'll go ahead and mention, to help you practice having that thankful heart, or the spirit of thanksgiving. And the first one we already said is start each day with gratitude. The next one was to be present in the moment, which I'll share with you real quick what I had shared the other day. We've been back in the day when you could actually go see live events, when we would go to a concert or a show or those types of things, and sitting in the audience, it just amazed me how many people spent all that money, traveled, who knows what kind of preparation that they took, and we know what preparation it took for us to get there in those seats.
Yes.
As soon as the curtain goes up or the show starts, what do?
Put up their phone and start recording.
It just blows my mind.
It makes me crazy.
Yeah, and that I thought was a perfect example of a way that, how can you be present in the moment and thoroughly take all of that in if you're sitting there staring at your phone?
Yeah.
And why are they so worried about recording it so they can see it later?
I don't know.
So I want to share it with somebody. Well, if I wanted to share it with somebody, I'd have bought them a ticket.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What? How do you feel about that? We've talked about it, but being present in the moment is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I take a few pictures usually at a concert, but then I put my phone away, and I want to see Ken Block in person in front of my face.
Lead singer, Sister
Hazel, or Arnel Pineda. I want to see him. I don't want to see him through this tiny little screen.
Right.
And I don't want to see it through the guy in front of me's tiny little screen either. So no, I don't like that at all. And we saw it at a wedding recently, and that really frustrated me because here's this person who's not the photographer. There are 3 photographers and a videographer, and this person looked like a tourist at it just I don't understand it. I
Right.
really don't. And I know I have times where I'm in my phone and I should be in the moment more. I think everyone has that. But that whole videoing concerts and things like that, it just I don't get it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
really
so
don't.
for those of you out there that make that a rate, just do us a favor, and if you want to practice having a heart of thanksgiving or an attitude of gratitude, put the phone down and
Yeah.
just soak it
Stick
all
it
in.
in your pocket.
Be
really.
present. And then the third one was pick one person each day. And the neat thing about that was, you know, be intentional about sitting down and thinking, who was it that I'm really grateful for? And then the question, who made me smile? I think that's a great way of looking at it. As I sit and look back, who made me smile?
Yeah.
For me, a lot of times we mention our dogs, of course, honey, you make me smile all the time, every day. But, I would be remiss if I didn't include Fezzy, our little Shih Tzu. The dogs can make you smile too, and that gives you a grateful heart.
Right, right.
And then the last one, again, was finish the day with thankfulness. So that's with the weekly winning resource. That was kind of the four things that Kim hit on with the article. I'm happy to have had you here in the studio as
Happy to have been here.
a representative of the Community Children's Theater. What my hope and plan is once you get going back up in May and closer to the show, we'll have an opportunity to once again bring you in here to the studio, and you can join us on the source. And
That'd be
hopefully
great.
we've got a lot more positive information and ways that people can go out and buy tickets. And really one of the things, as a motivational speaker, I go and I tell people that living life to the fullest means utilizing your God-given time and talents to the best of your ability. And there's no doubt that that's part of who you are and what you do. One of your talents is directing and teaching children all about the theater. But those kids, when I sit and watch them, the level of talent and the fact that they've recognized already that they're gifts that they've been given, and then willingly give up their time staring at their phone or doing what that kids do. I mean, and am I right on that? Am I on the right track? I mean, do you see that in your
sure.
theater kids?
Yeah, I mean, I know that the first show you ever saw, you couldn't believe that those were kids.
Yeah.
You couldn't believe that those voices were coming out of kids.
Yeah, I was looking around to see where the speakers were.
Yeah. And I do. I mean, I'm sure that those kids play video games and do other things when they're not part of theater productions, but you're talking about 2 hours a day, sometimes 3 hours a day, 5 days a week of rehearsals.
Right.
Not to mention what they are doing at home, because you know that they're working at home, because when they come back, they've improved since the last time, and they've memorized and things like that. And so I think it's just like a sport. People kind of look at the arts as something that's not maybe as important as sports, but for kids like us, it is. It's just like a sport, and we put in as much time and effort into making a show as a guy does, learning how to make a touchdown. And we had kids this time that had never tap danced before that tap danced, and did a really great job. And it was way out of their comfort zone, but they did it because they wanted to be a part of the show and make the show great. And that's the collaborative effort is what I love about that.
What the ultimate goal, I said, is, just to entertain people.
Yep.
To make the most of their time and talents, strictly for the purpose of bringing joy to others.
Right.
And I'm thankful as a witness to see that, both through you teaching it, and then kids that young recognizing it at such a young age.
Yes.
That the time and talent that they've been gifted, they choose to turn around and share it with others, and they don't really expect anything in return. An applause is all they're really looking for. So if you get a chance, I said, to be continued. We will share all the information once we get up and running again in the spring for Community Children's Theater's version of Big Fish. As we're wrapping up today, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. have a safe and happy Thanksgiving week. We know that it's going to be a challenge and it's going to look a little different for all of us, but make the most of it. Be grateful for the things that we do have. Don't fret over the things we don't. And, right around the corner is going to be the reason for the season, and we're going to be able to celebrate the holidays. And again, it's probably going to be a little bit different this year, but let's make the most and do the best we possibly can. If you're not, or if you're on the fence and you're watching this, as far as I've Decided is concerned, please go out and consider becoming a member of our organization. We would love to have you. All you have to do is go to our website, www.ivedecided.org, click on membership, and it literally takes 2 minutes to make that choice, to make that decision, put the stake in the ground, and join a wonderful community that's going to be here to lift up and empower and encourage you, not just for the week of Thanksgiving, but all through the year, which that's what we need to practice anyway. So once again, thank you so much to my guest.
Thank you
Lisa.
for having me.
It's a pleasure. So what's for dinner?
Meatloaf.
All right, we'll take it. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Kurt P. White, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a wonderful day.
PeoriaLife.com